My name is Marcus Chin. I am 33 years old, and I own a logistics company in Atlanta. For years ago, my family cut me out of their lives completely. No calls, no texts, no explanation, just silence. Last Tuesday, they walked straight into my company like nothing had happened. My mother sat in that chair right there. My father stood by the window. And my older brother, the one who started all of it, leaned back like he already owned the place. Then my mother demanded 50% of everything I built. I smiled. And what happened next left them completely speechless. But before I tell you what I said and what I showed them, let me take you back to the beginning. Because none of this makes sense unless you understand exactly what they did to me first. For years ago, I was nobody. I had just lost my job at a shipping warehouse, a job my brother had gotten for me, a fact he never let me forget. I was living in a small apartment I could barely afford. And I had an idea. A logistics software that could save small businesses thousands on shipping costs. I spent 6 months building it. Every night after applying to jobs. Every weekend while my friends went out. I didn't tell my family what I was working on because I knew what they'd say. And I was right. The night everything fell apart started like any other dinner at my parents' house. My mother asked about my job search. I told her I was working on something else, a software project. My brother, Kevin, immediately laughed. Software? You? Marcus, you couldn't even keep a warehouse job. My father didn't say anything. He just stared at his plate. My mother sighed like I had disappointed her again. I tried to explain. I told them about the logistics system, how it could track shipments, predict delays, save money. I was passionate. I was excited. For the first time in months, I believed in something. Kevin has a real career, my mother said. He's a regional manager. He bought a house. You're 30 years old living in a studio apartment playing with computers. When are you going to grow up? I looked at my father. Dad, please. Just listen. He finally looked up. And what he said broke something inside me. Your brother is the successful one. You've always been a project. We've spent your whole life trying to fix you. I'm tired. I stood up. I remember my chair scraping against the floor. You're choosing him, I said. It wasn't a question. My mother crossed her arms. Kevin has never needed fixing, she said. You've always been difficult. Always chasing some fantasy. We're done funding your failures. I walked out. No one followed me. No one called the next day. Or the week after. Or the year after. For years. For years of silence from the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. My mother's last words to me were, "You're dead to us." I didn't die though. I worked. The first year was survival. I took a night job at a call center so I could code during the day. I ate ramen for 9 months straight. I sold my car to pay for server costs. My friends thought I was crazy. Maybe I was. But 6 months into year 2, something happened. A small furniture store in North Carolina agreed to test my software. They saved $4,000 in shipping costs in the first month. Then they told another business. Then another. By the end of year 2, I had 12 clients. I rented my first real office, a 200-square-foot room above a laundromat. I hired my first employee, a recent college graduate named Sophia who believed in my vision more than I did some days. Year 3 changed everything. A regional retail chain signed a $200,000 contract. Then a manufacturer in Ohio. Then a distributor in Texas. My software wasn't just saving money anymore, it was predicting supply chain disruptions before they happened. During a major port strike, my system rerouted shipments for 17 different companies. Not one lost a single day of inventory. By year 4, my company had 43 employees, a real office with a glass conference room, and contracts in 11 states. I had done it. I had built something from nothing, from the ashes of a family who told me I would never amount to anything. But here's the thing about success when you come from nothing. It attracts attention. And not always the good kind. Because 3 weeks ago, my assistant walked into my office with a confused look on her face. She said 3 words that made my blood run cold. Your family is here. They looked exactly the same. My mother with her perfect posture and judgmental eyes. My father, grayer now, but still wearing that expression of quiet disappointment. And Kevin. Kevin had gained weight and lost hair, but his smirk was identical to the one he wore the night I walked out. I told my assistant to put them in the conference room. I waited 5 minutes before walking in. Not because I was nervous, because I wanted them to wait. I wanted them to feel what I had felt for 4 years. The uncertainty. The silence. When I opened the door, my mother smiled. Not a happy smile. A smile that said, "See? We still own you. Marcus. Look at this place. You've done well for yourself." I didn't respond. I stood near the door. My father cleared his throat. "Aren't you going to offer us something to drink? Coffee? Water?" "No," I said. "You're not staying long. What do you want?" Kevin slid a folder across the glass table. It made a scraping sound that echoed in the quiet room. "Open it," he said. I read the first page. Then the second. My mother watched my face carefully. My father leaned back like he had already won. Kevin was smiling. The document was simple. It demanded 50% ownership of my company to be transferred to Kevin's new Ventures group in exchange for strategic support and family alignment. "You want half of my company. We want what's fair, Marcus. Kevin's business is expanding. Your companies working together would make both of you stronger. It's a partnership." I looked at Kevin. "What business?" "Last I checked, you were a regional manager." "I started my own consulting firm 18 months ago. It's doing very well." I didn't believe him. And I had already done something they didn't expect. 3 days before they walked in, I had hired a private investigator. Because in my line of work, I've learned that when people reappear after years of silence, they're not coming back to apologize. They're coming back to take. My mother's voice turned colder. "You're going to sign it, Marcus." "Why would I do that?" "Because if you don't, I will call every major client you have. I will tell them exactly what kind of person you are. How you abandoned your family. How you stole your brother's ideas. How you're unstable and untrustworthy." I almost laughed. "You'd lie to destroy me?" "I'd do whatever it takes to protect this family. You're either with us or you're against us." I looked at my father. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I looked at Kevin. He was smirking. They thought they had won. They thought I was still the same scared, desperate person who walked out of their house 4 years ago. They were wrong. "Okay, let's talk about the partnership." I told them we needed a formal meeting. With witnesses. With my leadership team. With my investors. They agreed immediately. They wanted an audience. They wanted everyone to see me surrender. Kevin stood up first. He projected confidence, but I noticed his hands were shaking. He opened his folder and began explaining the partnership. How his consulting firm would bring value. How my logistics company would benefit from his expertise. My mother nodded along like a proud parent at a recital. When Kevin finished, everyone looked at me. My mother slid the agreement across the table. "Signed," she said. I didn't reach for the pen. Instead, I picked up a remote control from my pocket. And I pointed it at the screen on the wall. Before I sign anything, I want everyone here to understand exactly who they're partnering with. The first slide was Kevin's business registration. Filed 14 months ago. Dissolved 11 months ago for failure to pay taxes. The second slide was a list of his clients. 3 small businesses. All of them had filed complaints about unpaid work. One had taken him to small claims court. He lost. Those were disputes. Standard business disputes. I clicked to the third slide. A bank statement. Kevin's personal account. He had transferred $47,000 from his failed business account 2 days before it dissolved. My mother's face went pale. "Where did you get this information?" "I run a logistics company," I said. "Tracking shipments and tracking money aren't that different. I hired a forensic accountant 3 days ago. Right after my assistant told me you were coming." My father finally spoke. His voice was quiet. "Marcus, this is your family." I turned to him. "Where were you 4 years ago? When I walked out that door, did you call me? Did you ask if I was okay? Did you ever once wonder if your son was eating or sleeping or surviving?" "I didn't think so. We made mistakes. But we're still your parents. You can't humiliate us like this." I stood up. I looked at Kevin. "You came into my company. You sat in my conference room. You demanded half of everything I built while you were telling people I was dead to you. And you brought our parents as backup because you knew they'd always choose you. This meeting is over. There will be no partnership. There will be no agreement. And if anyone in this room ever tries to threaten my reputation again, I have 47 pages of documentation ready to share with lawyers, the press, and anyone else who needs to see it. My mother stood up first. She didn't look at me. Neither did my father. Kevin grabbed his folder and walked out without saying a word. The last thing I heard was the elevator doors closing. I don't feel victorious. I don't feel happy. I feel something I can't quite name. Relief, maybe? Or closure. For years of silence, answered in 45 minutes. Some people will read this story and think I was cruel. That I should have forgiven them. That family is family, no matter what. But those people have never been told they're dead to someone who used to kiss them goodnight. I built this company alone. In a studio apartment. On ramen noodles and 3 hours of sleep. My family didn't help me. They didn't believe in me. They erased me. And then they came back not to apologize but to take. Greed always leaves a trail. And if you ever find yourself in that conference room, facing people who abandoned you and now want a piece of your success, remember this. You don't owe them anything. Not your money. Not your time. Not your forgiveness. You owe them the same thing they gave you. Nothing.